Good evening. Welcome to the Animal Welfare Control and Education Board for June 23rd, 2026. It is approximately 6:03 p.m. I'd like to start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I thought it was behind the Indiana football.
All right, before we approve the agenda, we have two new members here, and I'd like for them to introduce themselves. I'll start over here.
Jim Alexander.
And Jim, you were appointed by what organization?
Is that right?
Council.
Council.
You were appointed by the council. And
Adam Hoffman.
and
Troy, Indiana.
and Troy representative. I'm Charlie Ballmaster. I am the chairman of the board, this committee, and also in attendance is Jim Carter. So if you would, please take a look at the agenda and see if you have any changes to this. It's a little different than we've done before. I'd like to, under section 5, I put that as discussion for all the things that we go through. I'd like to add a D column for the ordinance, because there's a couple things we need to talk about the ordinance. Does anybody else have any changes? Any additions? If not, could I have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I'll second it.
Jim, all in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, approval of minutes, that was sent out by the other Adam, Fisher, from his phone. I don't know if you've had a chance to take a look at them or not. I think we'll make a motion to bypass the minutes since everybody didn't get a chance to look at them and I didn't make copies for it. So could I have a motion to bypass the minutes?
Move. I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right. There is no one here for public comments, so we'll go on down to the discussions. The first discussion is the CAD reports. Tanya sends those out whenever she gets them from Tell City Police Department. Have you been getting them?
Yeah.
Jim, did you get them this time? Okay. She probably doesn't have your email address, so I'll make sure
Okay.
that she has it. Basically, it's just, there's 3 sets. There's one from the county, there's one from Tell City, and one from Candleton on animal. And a lot of these CADs are about skunks or horses or things like that. But they're all categorized in animal complaints, so that's why we get those. So I'll make sure you get on those. The other thing we have are animal bites, and I get copies. They used to send it to me, email it to me, and I was able to forward it out, but now it's a paper copy, so I apologize for that. But if you're not aware of this, anytime an animal bites someone, there has to be a report. If you call the police department, the officers to make a report, or if the bite is severe enough that they have to go to a doctor or hospital, they're mandated by law to send it to the health department. And then we get copies of it. As in the past, most of these complaints are family animals biting the owner or a child. We've had a couple incidents where they were not family members. We had one over here on 13th Street several weeks ago where a lady was watching a child. The caregiver of the child went over to try to help this lady shut her window. She had some medical problems. The dog got out.
I think Robert's here.
And ended up biting the child. They ended up taking the child to Evansville.
Nope.
So that tied up a lot of things. And at this time, I have 608. We'll welcome our other Adam.
Yeah, 5:45 missing. I left 10 minutes early and I'm still 5 minutes late.
That's all right. But we were just going over animal bites and talking about playing that up there on 13th Street, and ended up, the child was taken to Evansville to the hospital. And problem is communication. Same way with, with our police departments. A lot of times there's not a lot of communication, especially family animals biting, family member a lot of times. But anytime there is a bite and it's reported, there has to be a report sent to the health department. So that's basically about the animal bites. The next topic is the TNR, and for Adam and Jim, you're new to the group, so we've been talking about doing a TNR program here in the community for quite some time. Our board used to get funded through the county, and because of the budget cuts, we did not receive any money for this year. So been looking at alternative ways to finance a TNR. TNR is traffic rules. And my goal was to attempt to have one at least once a year in all three of the communities, here in Tell City, Troy, and Candles. We were lucky enough to get a small grant from the Community Foundation. And what we did, we agreed at one of our meetings that we would have that money sent to the Humane Society in their funds, that they would have a special fund just for the TNR where we could get the money. Jim's been working trying to get an account for this board, and yeah, I appreciate it, but it's like the hamster in the wheel. All it's doing is spinning. And my opinion was we were better off keeping the money out away from the county because of all the red tape, and it would take forever for those bills to get paid. Now it's with the Humane Society, and I think it's going to be a lot easier to work with.
And by the way, so this will be the first one, and she'll have that. That's we at $600, and that's going to be. I'll bring one of our that so that you can see that that's in there, how much is in there, and it's in the TNR. It'll be under TNR program. So
Well,
we have to do it that way because of the politics. He can explain it to you.
it was just a lot of red tape to go through there. This is the way it's going to be easier for us to get the money to the group. And so since you have a little of that background, let me explain what I've been doing. I took this on as an assignment to do this TNR. We reached out. The Humane Society was willing to work with me, that we sent letters to the Community Foundation and got the grant. It was $600, and we set that in that account. Then we started looking for areas, and we've selected an area in Tell City this time. I'm not going to give out the information on the location because we know what we have there and what we're going to have to do. I have spoke to the residents. I met with them. They're all in favor of it. They're willing to help any way they can. Matter of fact, I just got a call the other day, and I'm going to read this letter that I typed up, and I'm going to give it to them at this location. But it just states the Perry County Animal Welfare Board, along with the Perry County Humane Society, are working together to implement a TNR program. This program is being funded by a grant. This program will consist of trapping stray cats and having them spayed or neutered. They will also be given their shots and checked for any diseases. Now, if any of the animals test positive for any disease, they will be humanely euthanized. They will not be brought back. The whole program, the trap and release, is to trap and release them back in that location.
And by the way, just to add something, the reason he's not publicly letting people know is the fact that if you make it public, where you're gonna have a whole bunch of cats start showing up in that area.
More than what we're, okay. So, this program is designed to reduce the overpopulated cat situation that exists in our area. This is being done by donations along with the grant. And this is for their people down, if you'd like to donate to this program, please send your donations to the Perry County Humane Society in care of the TNR program.
And by the way, the Humane Society is making sure that actually this board controls that money, okay? I have to, because we have to do it this way, we still have to go through the Humane Society, but I want to make sure that everybody understands it's up to this board how they're going to spend that money. And since we already agreed both with the Humane Society officers and here, that will definitely be, it will be for TNR, and that's what the program's for.
Well, in the location that I'm looking at to do the TNR, as I said, I met with the residents, and they contacted me yesterday and asked if it would be all right for them to host a yard sale, and all the funding goes to the TNR. And I explained to them, that's why I stated in there, it would have to be sent to Humane Society earmarked for the TNR program. So hopefully this is not a one and done situation. We have the grant. I'm hoping that people see how well this went and that they're willing to donate. Now, we had started out with looking at Alley Cats. It's an organization in Louisville. Well, the big problem I have we've had is the road construction. It would require whoever, which will be me, and hopefully I can get some volunteers, to transport the animals up there one day and then go back and get them the next day. I have since then been in contact with DuBois County. They have a spade and neuter program also, clinic. Spoke to the lady, they are willing to do it. They're just a little bit higher. Their cost is $55 instead of $50. But we saved the drive, the 2 days, because what we would do is take them up in the morning, hang around over in DuBois County, and pick them up that afternoon to return. So I think, we're actually going to be saving some time and everything if we go with DuBois.
Definitely.
And the only problem we have with DuBois is that they would not be able to do it till August. And I told the lady that I would call her tomorrow, that I was going to run it by this board to get the okay, and then we would proceed. So I would like a motion by this board to allow us to go ahead and work with DuBois County Shelter and do the spay neutering through them.
Okay, I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. I will contact them and get the date. I will send emails out to everybody. I will probably need some help. The biggest concern is transportation. We talked about maybe trying to get with the animal shelter, see if we can borrow their van, but I've not brought that up yet. Molly, I will talk to him, but probably what we're looking at is 11 cats. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you start multiplying the kittens that these 11 cats, it's going to, a start. And we have not had anything like it. I know there's a lady in Troy that's been doing it on her own. This is George. Yes. And I want to contact her, and that may be a possibility if she continues to do it, that maybe some of that funding can come out of there.
Well, I was with Lisa actually yesterday for an hour, and I'm helping Lisa right now, but Lisa's got medical problems.
Yes, I knew that.
And she's pretty much stressed out. So I'm still working with Lisa. So now I'm providing help. Humane Societies helping provide some of the costs, some of the food, and some of the other things for these animals she's picking up. She's carried on a load for years, And I had no idea how many dollars she's put out of her pocket, but it's been a lot. But she has tick-borne disease, and she's not getting better. So I said, we're gonna work with you on this and try to get more people involved so we can have help her. So, yeah, I'll give you the phone number.
Okay. And I would think that money set aside, once it starts gathering some money up in that fund, that maybe some of that could be used, since she's doing that on her own, to help her financially take care of it. And then apparently there's someone in Cannleton doing the same thing, and I would like to reach out to them and see if they would be willing.
Yeah, I got that name from them, I don't have it in my head. Got that.
So right now, I'm going to open it up to the board about any questions or discussions about the TNR program.
One of the things I wanted to add was a lot of people, in fact, you were slightly skeptical at first. You didn't know how this was going to work. And as you've been learning it, you've been realizing it works very well. The only problem I see is that Perry County is really hard to try to educate people. And the key to success in all over the United States where TNR programs have worked is where they educate the people to not keep doing what they had been doing to keep these cats. So that, in other words, hey, this is why it happens. Because if you don't educate them, they're going to say, hey, look, there's a cat. They're going to pick up that. They're going to continue to do what they did before, and we're never going to solve the problem. So I think education, very, very big key. I mean, where we go, educate the people is, hey, if you see this going on, or let us communicate with the person or the persons.
Well, one of the things that we had discussed in the past, and I had heard this for years, that if you started feeding a stray animal, you become responsible. But I could never find it in writing. Kim Robertson with the health department was able to locate it. So, and I educated the people over there because they were the ones feeding these cats. And I understand people are good-hearted. They, feel sorry. They don't want to see, and I'm the same way. I don't want to see any animal starve, but they have to understand that once you start feeding them, to me, it becomes like a baited area. They're all going to come to that area. So we even talked about, I've seen some places in bigger cities that people have built these little shelter places where cats can go to eat. So I don't, if somebody out in that area would want to do that, that would be fine. But I know there's been a lot of resentment about these cats, and it's amazing if you drive around at night to see how many cats there are running loose. My mother-in-law is one of the worst out on 19th Street. Every time she feeds a cat, I end up trapping them, and we have them fixed, but they don't leave. Now, one of the things I do want to bring up to the board, and I talked to the residents in that area, that once we set this date and we trap these cats and we take them and we bring them back, I would like to advertise to the public, farmers, if anyone would like a barn cat that sticks, that's not going to reproduce, they would be happy to get them out of that area. And I think that would be fine to do. If there are people in the county that would want it. So that is my goal and my plan. Now, you know as well as I do, sometimes goals and plans don't work out the way you think, but I'm determined to get this done in August, see how it does. Then we can, we can put more, try to get more public support. I know there are people out there that are willing to help, but I want to see us at least do it to show that this board is doing something.
Yeah, and the politics has always been one of our problems, is that, and by the way, to go off of this, one of the things that I'm doing right now is I've approached just about every board. I was at Troy, and I'm trying to get more and more people on as members of the Humane Society one of the main reasons is that the more members you have in an organization, and if that person that represents that organization comes to any political organization, they know how many members they got. You translate that from just members to votes. And all of say you get more respect. So I'm really pushing on our members. We're up to 140 some odd members now. And I'm pushing so that in the fall, when things start, we're not sure what's gonna happen, but in the fall, we're gonna know a little bit more about where the money's gonna come from. So I'm as a Humane Society, not, I'm carrying two hats here. I'll be coming to the commissioners and the county council and Troy and Tell City to try to push for changes and in order to be able to do this, because we really need more education and more help from the public. And they just don't know. And so
You're exactly right, Jim. And, I've been involved in politics for years, but I really believe in this board that politics is not part of this. We are concerned about the community. We're trying to help a problem that's been around for a long time, and it's not going to be solved overnight. We're going to have to work. We're going to have people help us, because 7 members is not enough people to take care of this whole community with the problems we have.
well, I'm glad to see we got 2 new members right now. When we get our full complement of members here, we can start putting out more. So anyway, that TNR program is extremely important. And I'm hoping Charlie's taking his hands for it. He's going to find out in August what he's.
I think it's going to work out well.
I hope so.
And like I said, I think the proof in the pudding will be how well it goes. And people see that, we're willing to do this and try it, and then maybe we'll have more people volunteer. If there's nothing else on the TNR, the other thing that I added to the agenda tonight is the ordinance. As you know, Perry County passed an ordinance, and I've been reading through this ordinance, and I was involved in rewriting this, and for some reason, it seems like I'm finding things I didn't realize we put in there. The one concern I have is about, in the ordinance, it states that this board would be able to, if a citation is issued by this ordinance by law enforcement, that this board would nominate a clerk, and the people would come to the clerk and meet with them and pay their fine. Red flag. I don't know, as a committee, if we have authority through state statute that we can do this. That's one of my concerns, and I'd like permission to speak to the commissioners and their attorney about this, to let him research it, because I have several questions. Okay, let's say somebody on the board is the clerk and somebody's coming in and you set the fine and you collect the fine. Okay, this person's going to have to be bonded. I mean, there's a lot of red tape here. And so I'm a little concerned about that. I want to get the county attorney involved to explain if this is something that we want to try to do, if we want to hold off of. I know I talked to the sheriff and the chiefs about all the entities have not came on board with this ordinance. The county has it. The other ones are talking about it. And what I tried to explain to all of them is, we don't want you to rewrite, just adopt this ordinance, because there's things in that ordinance that don't pertain to Troy, Tell City, and Candleton. What we'd like for you to do is the enforcement part of this ordinance, put it in your ordinance. Okay? Well, right now, I know a couple of the departments are writing these violations on state statute, okay, which is fine. Problem is, they're sent to the clerk over here at Perry County. When they pay a fine, that money goes into the general fund. That's a problem, because the whole idea of this was, if we established the ordinance and got the money coming into the county, it would be set aside for an animal control officer, because that was our number one goal, to come up with money to pay an animal control officer. Well, when it goes in the general fund, then that's another question I have for the commissioners and the county attorney. Is there any way of that being designated to go into our fund? That'll be up to the county council. I don't know. And we're not talking a great deal of money, of course. But, it's, right now, the way it's streamlined, it's going elsewhere. And we need to see if we can't get it back into, because the county does have a dog fund or an animal fund. When Becky Thorne, Commissioner Thorne was on this board, we discussed it, and that was the whole idea of that. The fines would go into that account to build up money for the animal control officer. So I'm going to have to readdress that, but I wanted this board to know what I'm planning on doing, so somebody doesn't come up to you and say, well, Charlie's going to the commissioners and this, that, and the other thing. So I want you all to be aware of that. Does anybody have any objections for me in researching this?
And I want to add, when you talk about the clerk, that was actually, when they actually came up with the original ordinance, 2011, that clerk was put in there. And then in 2012 and 13, I actually went to the state and I said, because I came to the clerk and I said, who's the clerk? And nobody, I went to the county clerk. And
Right.
They were confused. We don't know what you're talking about. It's an ordinance. You passed the ordinance. Who is this clerk that we need to use? They couldn't come up with one. Back to the state, they said, it's up to now we're talking about 13, so we're talking about years ago. They said it's up to the county clerk to then appoint someone from the county clerk. But that person retired and told me that answers, and then now you're dealing with more politics. So,
well, again, by the ordinance, the way I read it, there's a clerk appointed by this board as a member of this board that oversees these hearings. And my question is, by what statute do we have authority to do that? State statute.
there's so many things in there that are so confusing that nobody can answer, because that's part of my question was, okay, and I realize what you're saying, and everybody just shook their heads, and everybody just put their heads in, the sand and just put it off.
In my mind and with my law enforcement background, these red flags come up, especially on things like this, that we might be better off if we could get the county to agree that the money that's paid in on the state ordinances or laws, that it would go not in the general fund, but into that special fund for this animal control officer. So it probably means I will have to speak with the council too, to see if they're willing to do it, because they're the ones that do the financial part of it. And again, I don't really think they should have to worry about it, because it's not that much money. So, but these are some obstacles that I've found in the ordinance over the last couple of months. Anybody have anything to add to that? The next thing is good of order, and we have been talking about meetings. As you know, Tanya's work schedule has thrown everything off, and she thought she could be here tonight, but she couldn't be. And she has sent a couple of her dates tonight, and I've explained to her that we would do what's the best for the majority, because we have to have a quorum. So in July, the date we were looking at is the 14th, which is the second Tuesday of the month. Is that going to be a problem with anybody?
We already know my situation. So we already know my situation.
Right. Jim will not be able to be here because of the Humane Society meeting that night. Now, would you want to go earlier or later on the 14th? That would give Jim a chance to either get here afterwards or before.
I think like Adam, he's got his situation with his farm and it's hard for him.
Well,
to get fast.
No, I'm actually going on vacation that week.
So you're gonna be on, so it's not gonna affect you, so.
I'm on vacation that week, so.
Just as long as you're gonna have a quorum.
Yeah.
So, Jim,
Anytime is fine with me. It usually takes us an hour and a half for our meeting, which is at 6.
if, let's say if we go at 5 o'clock, is that good for everybody on the 14th? And then you'll be out of here
Yeah.
before 6.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. On the 14th, we'll meet at 5 o'clock. I'll double check in the auditor's office to make sure that she told me that evening was open, so. And then the following month in August is the 11th. Tuesday, the 11th. That falls the same way with you on that, Jim. Adam, if we would move that to 5, would that be a problem for you on August 11th? August 11th? That'd be fine, 5 o'clock. We have 2 Adams, I'm sorry.
Mine's all up on the board.
It all depends what happens that day.
Okay,
It can be over, I don't know. There's a possibility I can make that.
okay,
It's all up in the air. I won't know till about 3:30.
that's fine. Let's just try to do that at 5, that way, we know there'll be a quorum here. We'll get over to Robert and make sure. But let's, the next 2 months, we'll schedule those for 5 o'clock. And actually, August, if we're into the TNR thing, that meeting may get postponed. So, but I will keep you guys all informed.
And maybe, some of the new board doesn't know that we also have in our recommendations that you did 3 months ago that we can also switch to every other month.
Right, yeah. We don't have to meet every month, and one of the reasons why is because, we don't have that many projects. This TNR is, like I said, my baby, and, that's the reason I'm trying to push it through. But probably when we get into the winter, because of weather and everything, we may go every other month instead of every month. Anybody have any questions or anything else to add?
I'm interested for the new 2 members, what they think the future's gonna be right now. What do you think the future of the animal issues in Perry County are as opposed to? You think?
I think the one thing we can be confident of is the issues are not gonna go away, they may change.
That's great.
But there will always be concerns about animals and folks who do things differently. The animal owner and the one that got bitten by the dog are gonna look at that differently. So degree of discretion, a degree of wisdom. When I read the ordinance, I admired much of it. As it was written, it seemed like a legitimate effort was made to consider both sides. And that's very important. I don't think that the need will go away for us. I really like the idea of, at some point, when it can be afforded, an animal control officer in some way, full-time, part-time, added on to a lot of portion, something.
And just to add to that, Jim, last year when we apply, each year we have to apply because we're basically funded through the commissioners fund. So any request goes through the commissioners first. And I did send in a proposal for a part-time animal control officer last year. I will probably do that again. Yeah, exactly. And also the funding for this board. I will ask for that again. I'm waiting to see when it has to be turned in. Normally it would be already, turned in, but apparently they're holding out for some reason. So, Adam, I'm sorry I interrupted you about your thoughts.
When we keep plugging away at it, we're gonna get better and better at it. It's gonna get better and better, it's bad now, but it can always get better.
Well, one of the things on the cats, I really don't see a whole lot of cats from Troy. I don't know if they're not calling it in or if they're taking care of the problems.
I think they're taking care of the problems. I mean, I see a few cats running around, but not as many as I used to. I used to see quite a few more than I do.
And that's due to.
That's due to Lisa.
Yeah.
I mean, Lisa, she really put in a lot of work out there.
And like I said, she's getting tired.
Yeah.
I know she's getting tired,
I bet.
she needs help, and I'm trying to get our board to get with, to help support her as much as possible, and actually just kind of, because I don't know in the next 6 months how her health is going. She's at that, I call it the transition stage. You got a problem, is that gonna get better or worse? But people call her 24 hours a day, she doesn't, they're in relief, and so I'm trying to figure out a way to, how can we divert those calls to different people to take that, but they just, and you know why, is because Lisa's helped, and they know she's gonna help, and they're not gonna stop.
Well, and we discussed this. I've always said that this board actually has a triangle. The base of the triangle was the shelter. For a long time, we didn't have a shelter. We do have a shelter now. That's a big thing. The other two sides, one of them is the ordinance, which we've passed, working on that. And the third side is the animal control officer. And all of those have to come together. But the shelter, and Adam and Jim's heard me say this over and over, sometimes they're taking advantage of it because they're not animal control officers, but they get calls all time of the night to go out and pick up animals. They do that because they're good-hearted people, but sooner or later it has to end, and Molly has put some restrictions on now. We hear a lot about Tell City, Troy, and Cannleton, especially on cats. We don't hear so much about the county, and I've always addressed that issue that in the county, Mother Nature takes care of it the way Mother Nature does, okay? In these Troy, Tell City, and Cannleton, those options are not available. So somebody's got to take responsibility. And it's amazing. I don't know if you've ever looked at the chart, but a cat that has 6 kittens, within 3 months, the kittens can have kittens, and that, I mean, they just multiply. We always, laugh about rabbits multiplying, but cats multiply just as fast.
Especially when there's no natural predators.
Right, exactly. In town.
Yeah.
And so,
Oh, and by the way, I forgot, I apologize. At the end of September or first week of October, the state is contacting us again. We did 97, we spayed and neutered 97 cats. We think last week of September or first week of October, we're gonna have another spay and neuter clinic active. And that really, that fills up every 3 times.
and they have them all over the state, and usually within a week before the date, they'll send out information if they have openings. I've helped Jim the last couple times up there with traffic and everything. It's great. And I really get excited about the people from Perry County taking their animals. They're getting they're getting $50 paid back to them by the Humane Society. And I think that's a reason why some of these people are doing it, because they can't afford it. If you take a cat to the vet to be fixed, it's over $100. And, times are tough for everybody, and we understand that. And some people, do you have your cat fixed or do you feed your children? Of course, you're going to feed your children. But that goes back again to education, like Jim talked about. We always talk about the kids, and we want to get back into schools and educate the school kids so they become aware that when Sally wants a kitten and Sally gets a kitten and in 2 or 3 months, the kitten's no longer a kitten, and it's a cat and it scratches, they have to understand that this is part of that. It'd just be like a parent that has a baby, not thinking that it's never going to grow up and it's going to change. So education is important, and hopefully we can get back into the schools. Robert's not here tonight. Robert is our guru. Basically, he will probably take over the education part once we get that going. Anything else? If not, I'm going to close this meeting at 6:43. I thank you all for coming. And everyone have a good evening.
I'll get a hold of Robert and find out what